Medal of Honor Above and Beyond released at the end of 2020, and even now, it still has mixed reviews on Steam. The game has its problems, which I talked about in another video, but overall I think Medal of Honor VR is a lot better than people think it is. So I want to show a few of my favourite levels and explain why you should be playing this game if you haven't already. The first level I want to highlight is the Gestapo Headquarters. This is the first proper level of the game, and it took about an hour and a half just to get there. Up to this point, all the levels were really short and the pacing was really poor, with lots of listening to people talk with bad dialogue that you can now luckily skip.
Worse, he's French. A collaborator.
You start outside the headquarters and then you have to push inside, going through exotic locations like a kitchen. The attention to detail in these environments is AAA, and the game looks way better in the headset than it does watching it on a YouTube video. I really like how the guns feel in this game. The manual reloading isn't the best, but aiming and shooting the guns feels solid, with the guns having a nice kick. The gun sounds are good, and the enemies aren't spongy, making the weapons feel powerful. I also really like how the enemies react to getting shot.
Das amerikanische Gewehr bitte! Feindsässige Bewegung!
The detail on the character models is also really good. You can get right up to the face of them and see every wrinkle. The game also has a few sequences where you're in a vehicle or you're doing something other than being on foot, and my favourite of these is when you're in a bomber. Again, the attention to detail is great, and you really get a sense of space in VR. It feels so cramped, and you even have to duck your head down on the certain spots as you go to the different gun turrets. The developers made a big deal about how they recorded all the actual sounds of the guns, tanks, etc. in this game, and it really shows. Everything sounds authentic, and it adds a lot to the game.
Lieutenant, please take over the starboard position. Hurry if you can, Lieutenant. We're taking a beating.
The only downside to this section is when you get in the bubble turret at the top. You literally control the aim with your head, which feels a bit pants. Some people might put the Omaha beach landing in there. I like the section where you're in the trenches, but the actual landing sequence was pretty underwhelming in my opinion.
Alright.
There's a smaller level where you have to destroy a huge mounted gun that's on a train. What I like about this one is rather than being a linear path, it's more of an open area where you've got a few options. You can pick some off from a distance with a scoped rifle. You could go in, guns blazing.
Feind gesichtet!
Or you could go around the side to the back of the gun.
Der Gegner ist gut ausgebildet!
Once up there, you get the gun to point at the ground. You destroy some reinforcements with RPGs and mounted turrets. and you fire the big boy and destroy it. There's a really nice section where you go house to house, then you trek across a village to a church. You're fighting your way through on your own, you finally make it across the courtyard to be met with these dickheads. The characters in this game are so cringy with bad dialogue, and clearly they didn't think to come outside and help when they had to single-handedly wipe out everybody. You end up at the top of the church with a sniper rifle, and I really enjoyed this. You can look around full 360 degrees, and you can see for miles. And this is where you really see what a AAA studios can do over an indie developer, because the detail is incredible. You have to cover your moron friends, and the bolt-action sniper rifle feels really solid. They have it so that you move your hand backwards and forwards to bolt a new bullet in the chamber, and it automatically clicks it full open and closed, so there's no fumbling around having to retry a few times because you didn't fully close it. This section finishes with you using the worst binoculars in any video game. I ended up having to bring them to my face and then just look for the aim reticle to show in the world so that I could mark the targets, and then some planes swoop in and take the AA guns out.
Here they come, Lieutenant.
The game also has lots of variety in locations. There's an entire mission with multiple levels where you're infiltrating a ship. This thing gets torpedoed and you have to escape.
Is that a torpedo?
The ship ends up getting tilted, and it really adds a surprising amount in VR when things aren't perfectly level. The ship ends up vertical in the water, so now you've got to climb up, and you get to some really cool gunfights where it really plays with verticality. You end up finding Ollie the shithead, who's clearly been working out as he's able to lift you with one hand.
Quite a view, eh?
Then a U-boat shows up. You're actually undercover as a Nazi in this section, and I just love how you just talk in English. It's very authentic.
Welcome, Admiral. Now, your ship's mayday said something about there being a spy on board.
I think he was an OSS agent.
You fight your way out of the U-boat, and the mission is over.
Amerikaner! Hier sitzen wir auf...
The last part of the campaign I'll highlight is Norway. Again, it's another change in location. You've got more bad dialogue.
Looks like he fell for our little ambush.
And some stunning views. It starts in the day and gradually goes to night, where you have to go down an incredibly dark tunnel and infiltrate a hydro dam. They also have a section where you're on skis, but this feels really bad. The controls feel bad, you have to shoot as you go down, and the game turns automatically for you. This game isn't perfect, it's got some really bad pacing and poor sections, not to mention the terrible dialogue and annoying characters. But if you want a good quality single player first person shooter in VR, it's still one of the best available. It also has multiplayer as well, but it's completely dead. It's a shame because the maps are really good, and I'd love to get a few games in with some real people, so if anyone owns the game on PC and they want to play it online, then check the link to my Discord in the description and we can try and arrange a game night one weekend. And that's it. Let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, thank you so much to my supporters. They're keeping the lights on in this place.